This is the setup fight before the 3 title fights, and this is possibly a title eliminator between Thug Rose Namajunas and Bate Estaca, Jessica Andrade. And Matt, it's such an interesting fight because for what it's worth, again, former champ Andrade, who beat Namajunas to win the title. Namajunas coming off the 2 wins over Joanna Jędrzejczyk and a long layoff since that fight against Andrade. For Andrade, it's a long enough layoff since losing the belt to Zhang Wei Li back some time ago. So, both fighters coming off of very long layoffs. For Rose Namajunas, the path to the title, a weird one because she lost a split to Karolina Kowalkiewicz. We're getting on to 4 years just about since she lost that fight. So she comes in, fights Michelle Waterson in a fight that we've talked about already tonight in our predictions because Waterson coming off a big main event win in a fight night over Paige Van Zandt. So they take it, they duke it out. Rose Namajunas looks amazing in that fight.
Waterson.
Absolutely amazing. Gets the title shot against Andrade, or sorry, not Andrade, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Everybody counted her out. And she looked amazing in that first fight. Then they rematch because you have to. I mean, you had the Boogie Woman at the height of her powers in Jędrzejczyk.
Great fight.
What does Namajunas do in the second one? Poured it on her again and gets an amazing win. Then she fights Jessica Andrade. And Matt, it was just brute strength. That was how Jessica Andrade won that fight in a fight that she was losing until she wasn't.
And that's the thing. Rose Namajunas, it's not like the fight was kind of close and Namajunas was just sort of winning before Andrade knocked her out. No. She 10-8'd her in the first round, dropped her with a knee, and it wasn't competitive at all until, of course... So, Rose Namajunas is a really good Kimura, and Jessica Andrade doesn't shoot double leg. She just picks people up and slams them on their head. She's like a 115-pound Bob Sapp, kind of. It's not like there's a lot of technique behind what she does. She's just so much physically stronger than a lot of the women who she's fighting, to the point where she can either brawl with you and knock you out that way, and just kind of charge forward, or she can pick you up and slam you on your head. She did it against Claudia Gadelha. She just slammed her a bunch of times. Tecia Torres did a pretty good job of defending it, at least at the beginning of the fight, and then as the fight wore on, Andrade, again, just brute strength, lift you up, slam you down, get on top. The problem, though, when she fights someone like a Zhang Wei Li, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, a Rose Namajunas, they're just so much more technical than she is that to close that distance, to land those big shots or get a hold of your opponent, you're going to eat a lot of damage on your way in. And yes, she did well, at least at the start of the Joanna fight. She was able to kind of clip her and do well. But as that fight wore on, Joanna just kind of stayed on her bike, jab, 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 throw some head kicks to keep Andrade honest defensively, and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Rose was doing kind of the same game plan. She was inflicting a lot more damage on Andrade. Joanna was never really able to stun Andrade or really crack her all that hard to really force her to retreat. But with Namajunas, every time she hit her, it looked like she was hurting her. And I found this was a really important part in their fight. Right before Andrade won by knockout, just the confidence level between the two going into that second round. Namajunas coming off a great round, pretty much flawless, and Andrade getting beat up really bad. Namajunas is jumping around like she's ready to fight. Andrade looked deflated, and that's not a great thing to see from a fighter.
But you won.
Exactly. But sometimes you win and you cannot look all that great, and I think that was one of those cases. I think if Namajunas fights Andrade 10 times, Dan Hardy talked about this in his breakdown. He said if they fight 10 times, I think Namajunas probably wins about 8 of those times, just because technically, I don't think there's an argument between these two. Technically, Namajunas is better everywhere. She's a better striker. She's better on the ground. Her wrestling, I'd probably give that to Andrade, but that's more of a strength advantage than a real technique advantage. And coming off a long layoff, it's not like Andrade fought last week or anything. Andrade hasn't fought for 10 months, so she's coming off a big layoff. She got knocked out in her last fight. She got dropped the fight before, and her style is very much I'll eat some to give some, because I'm just so much stronger than whoever I'm fighting. I can really afford to, make that equation, but eventually that's going to catch up to you. And I'm not saying that her chin's shot by any means, but it's been telling, at least as of late. Tecia Torres stunned her. Angela Hill dropped her. Joanna just beat her up, and she ate a lot of shots in that fight. And then Namajunas was able to drop her, and Zhang Wei Li was able to knock her out. That's a lot of damage, especially as of late in your career. She's still young, under 30 years old, which is wild because it feels like Andrade's been around forever. She's going to be stronger than everyone she fights. Technique-wise, she's going to be a lot worse than most women who she fights. And this really comes down to what version of Rose we're going to see more than what version of Jessica we're going to see.
That's the thing. And with Jessica Andrade, it's one of those oversimplifications that I can make. It's harder to hit a moving target than it is something coming straight at you. And with Jessica Andrade, you know what you're going to get. It's not like the technique and the game plan has changed since she fought at 135 to now at strawweight, which is insane. She has wins over future, I guess, from the time after she fought them. Raquel Pennington, she has a win over Raquel Pennington, who obviously fought for the bantamweight title in the UFC, and Larissa Pacheco, who fought for the finals in the PFL's lightweight title. implication type of fights. Insane that they even had a championship for that, but still, Jessica Andrade with big wins at 35, with big wins at 15. But again, it's just that brute strength and that wrestling advantage that she normally has over a lot of these fighters. Whereas Rose Namajunas, it's really that technique, that crispness, the fact that she's able to finish on a lot of her strikes, but you always have to worry about those submission abilities. And that's the thing. I mean, Andrade won where, was it an illegal spike? Was it not? If it was in one championship, it probably would have been. Ask a really tough out in Christian Lee about one of his wins.
Sure.
Which was obviously a loss because of it. But in this fight, it's interesting because Namajunas comes in as just about a 2-1 favorite, which is weird because her last fight was a loss to Andrade, and it's kind of odd that things would go that way. But it's not in terms of the way that the fans are voting, because out of 1,000 exactly votes over on Tapology, 79% going with Namajunas to get the win, an overwhelming majority in 68% predicting a decision for Namajunas. Do you see it that way? Or do you see this fight going the same way that the first one went, where Jessica Andrade between rounds somehow unleashes Metallica's "Give Me Fuel, Give Me Fire, Give Me That Which I Desire, Ooh Yeah," and slams Rose Namajunas on her head?
So Jessica Andrade won because of a mistake of Rose Namajunas. She held on to that Kimura, and that's how she got spiked on her head. Now, she had done that twice in the first round and was kind of able to get away from it. She hooked her legs around for an armbar, so she just kind of missed her head. And then on the second one, she had held the Kimura enough that she didn't even get slammed. She just kind of put her foot down and was able to get right back up. So, and then Andrade was able to make that adjustment, kind of slam, just really be more aggressive with her slam, because she knew that option was there, because she knew the defense of Namajunas. I don't think Jessica Andrade can be able to do the same thing to Namajunas. Like, the only way that I see Andrade winning is by one of those methods. Like, kind of win, and not a fluky way, but win in a way that no one would really imagine. Win by a slam out of a sub. Something along those lines. Because if it comes down to, they're going to fight on the outside. Let's say this whole fight is a striking fight. Well, Rose Namajunas is going to completely light her on fire. Because Andrade, in her first run, at least to the title, up until 211 when she fought Joanna, she was kind of new to the division. Not everyone knew what she was going to do, and I don't think really people understood the repercussions of her power shots. But she's not young in the division, if you will, anymore. She was fairly active, at least till this last layoff, and I think people are starting to figure out there's just so much tape out there for Jessica Andrade. You know that if I can avoid her 62-inch reach, that she doesn't really even take advantage of it. She holds her hands like this and then just throws bombs. So it's not like she's getting the most out of her reach. And as long as you have good footwork, which Rose Namajunas is second to none in footwork, you should be able to beat her. So I don't really see... It's not that I don't see a path to victory for Andrade, because I've seen her win this fight before. I just think Rose has so many more ways to win. And Trevor Whitman's her main coach. He's going to be able to fix up whatever holes were in her first fight, and they're going to be looking better in this one. I think Rose Namajunas is going to be able to win this by a landslide.
And she's had a long time to get ready for this rematch. You also bring up a good point. Jessica Andrade, she's able to typically close distance, land the power shots, get the wins, and it's wild. Again, the fact that she had those telling wins at 35, where at 15, she's going to be the smaller fighter. Like, you would think a fighter at 5'2", 62 inches reach is probably an atomweight moving up to strawweight, not somebody who fought at bantamweight and had success. For Rose Namajunas, though, you bring it up. I mean, a lot more tools in the tool belt, which you like to see out of a fighter. And she's one of those ones where you look at it. I mean, 9-4 overall. One of those fights, a 3-rounder in the Ultimate Fighter, so it counts as a pro fight. Versus Jessica Andrade, 27 pro fights. But again, it's the new guard and the old guard. And you could say, well, Namajunas, she started her pro career around a time where a lot of people have had more fights than her. But going back to the drawing board, working with such a good camp, really refining those skills that you're good at, and then putting on performances like she did against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, it's hard to disagree with the fact that Rose Namajunas should be able to win this fight comfortably, unless there's a hellish power shot from Andrade or another slam. Yeah. I don't see that happening. I'm going to be taking Namajunas.
I want to see Namajunas versus Weili so badly, it's not even fun. I think that's just such a fun fight stylistically. So hopefully, if Namajunas is able to get the win, that could be matched up in the future, because that would just be such a good matchup. So yeah, I think Namajunas could be able to get it done, but this should be a very entertaining fight.
Both going with Rose Namajunas to get the win here, Matt. Really looking forward to this. One of the best cards so far that we've had. An extended look at our 3 title fights at the top. You're not going to want to miss those. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, Matt. And as we always say, let's get into it.